Richard Williams lives with his wife, Brandy, and their children in Compton, California. Their household includes 3 stepdaughters, Tund, Isha, and Lindria, as well as their 2 daughters, Venus and Serena. Richard is focused on a long-term plan he created to develop Venus and Serena into professional tennis players. Each day, Richard and Brandy follow a structured routine. While Richard works as a security guard and Brandy as a nurse, they both dedicate their time before and after work to coaching Venus and Serena on nearby public tennis courts. Richard prepares promotional materials, brochures and videotapes, highlighting the girls' playing skills in hopes of securing professional coaching support. However, his efforts repeatedly fail. One day, Richard brings Venus and Serena to a tennis court where Coach Paul Cohen is running a session with well-known players John McEnroe and Pete Sampras. Richard waits for a break in the session and approaches Paul with a request to evaluate the girls. Initially hesitant, Paul eventually agrees to watch a brief demonstration. He observes as Venus and Serena perform a series of drills and rallies on the court. After watching their form, footwork, and consistency, he decides to work with one of them. Because the family cannot afford to pay for private coaching, Paul offers to coach only Venus, not both sisters. While Venus begins training under Paul's direction, Serena continues practicing with Brandy using the same routines they've always followed. Paul also encourages Venus to enter junior-level tournaments, where she competes regularly and begins to win matches. During this time, Richard continues to remind the girls of the importance of staying grounded. At one of these junior tournaments, Serena registers herself to compete as well. The tournament setting consists mainly of families and competitors from wealthier, predominantly white backgrounds. The Williams family stands out in the environment. As Venus gains attention and momentum, Richard begins receiving calls and meeting with sports agents interested in representing her. Concerned about how quickly things are moving, Richard removes both girls from junior competition. Paul strongly objects to this decision and warns of the consequences. The disagreement results in Paul being dismissed as Venus's coach. Soon after, another coach, Rick Machi, travels from Florida to watch the girls play. After reviewing their performance in person, he offers to take them on at his training facility. The entire family relocates to Florida to continue training. Once there, Richard informs Rick that the girls will not participate in junior tournaments for the time being. Instead, they will focus on training while maintaining a typical school routine. Over the next 3 years, reporters and those within the tennis community begin to question Richard's unusual strategy. Rick also becomes concerned, especially when Venus expresses a desire to compete professionally. Richard hesitates, but then allows Venus to begin the process. Soon after, however, he changes his mind again, referencing the challenges faced by a former young tennis star who struggled after early success. This reversal causes tension between Richard and several members of the family, including Venus, Brandy, and Rick. Following a difficult conversation, Richard and Venus come to an understanding, and Venus is allowed to compete in a professional event, the Bank of the West Classic in Oakland. Before the event begins, the family meets with a representative from Nike, who offers a multi-million-dollar endorsement deal. After discussing the offer together, the family decides to decline, choosing instead to wait and see how Venus performs before committing. During the tournament, Venus plays her first professional match against Shawn Stafford. The match begins with Venus struggling to adjust to the pace and level of her opponent. As the match progresses, she adapts and ultimately secures a win. In her next match, she faces Sanchez, the top seed. Venus wins the first set and builds a lead in the second. Her opponent then takes a long break off the court. When play resumes, the match shifts, and Sanchez takes control and wins. After the match, as they prepare to leave the stadium, they pass a large crowd gathered outside. Rick approaches Richard with news that several major athletic brands are interested in scheduling meetings.